What is up, everyone? Welcome to this thing is very finicky, but I hope you guys can hear me and see me. Hope you guys are doing well. It is Sunday, May 18th, and it's 5:30. We just got done with the Imola Grand Prix in the last hour. And right off the bat, I will apologize because it says right there that the Monaco qualifying is Saturday, May 25th. It is Saturday, May 24th. So ignore that if you're watching the YouTube stream. And if you are listening on the podcast side, which I'll post immediately after this. So Apple, Spotify, wherever you watch your podcasts. Yeah, that is actually May 24th. So ignore that. But, whew, that was pretty fun for an Imola Grand Prix, wouldn't you say? I had a good time. I hope you guys had a good time. I went with the new format yesterday on the deadline live stream. I was asking the great folks that were joining me for that what they thought about the new format here. I got like just a little bit more info, a little less of me, which is probably always a good thing. But yeah, hope you guys did well. I think I did all right. 1.3 budget gain, 178 points. We'll get into Williams and Russell versus Mercedes and Albon kind of like over the course of the next hour. But looking at it right now, Williams plus Russell was 58 points and Mercedes plus Albon was 26. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, Albon got that sweet 0.6 rise. Lance Stroll did not. Oh my goodness, what a like reverse in fortune it was for Aston Martin. They told us on the Friday data that they looked okay in quali, but the race pace was not so good, and that was no more clear than right now at the Imola Grand Prix. So, yeah, if you guys are in the chat right now, drop a like. If you're watching and you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe. We are getting closer and closer to 3,100. And yesterday on the deadline live stream, it was Brandon who was saying that if we get to 5K by Spa, we can have like a full weekend watch along or something like that. So that maybe that'll be the ultimate goal by the summer break. But we are one race down, two more to go in the triple header. And let's get into the chat. I hope everyone had a successful weekend. The poll right now is, it was Imola a banger? Option one, yes, bang bang, is currently leading. Let's see, what do we got here? We've got Benad saying, hey, everyone. We got Adolfo saying hi. The Thingsies saying hi. So annoyed I didn't have the guts to put Red Bull in my T1, so my T2 team ended up cooking. You cooked hard with that T2 team. Now what with Mercedes? Yeah, I guess we're going to get into that a little bit as well. Michael says, if only it had 1.1 million more in budget, I'd be able to have Russell Williams. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are watching the live stream, that was a really, really big debate for me. It was Russell plus Williams or like Williams plus Mercedes, I guess, really, in theory. And so tough, because if we're looking at here on the screen, those are my three teams. So like Williams plus Russell, 0.7 rise, Albon plus Mercedes, 0.9 rise. So it was 0.2 gain, but at what cost? Because yeah, Williams outscoring Mercedes. Holy moly. That T3 squad right there with McLaren, Williams, Piastri, Russell, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Colapinto could well be in line to get Limitless in Monaco. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. We're going to have plenty of content on the channel leading up to the Monaco Grand Prix, so make sure to stick around. We got 88 viewers right now, and we've only got 14 likes. So if you guys can help me out, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Any support is always appreciated. But yeah, Benad says, I wanted that Albon podium so bad, but what a race. I might have to take a -10 next week to bring him in. Had to settle for Stroll due to budget, and now I'm losing budget with less points. Yeah, man, that swing is brutal. Like, let's check it out here. What do we got? So Albon, 19 points. Also, we haven't even touched on yet the fact that Albon had like a leak in his car before the Grand Prix. It is beautiful weather here today in southern Germany. So my wife and I went to a little bit of a wine walk, a Weinwanderweg, if you are German at all, and had a pretty good time. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna relax. Like, no, there's no concerns coming up on the board, whatever. And it was like 2:30. The race starts at 3 in Germany. I was like, let me check in with the old Twitter machine. What is going on here? And oh my God, Alex Albon has a leak. I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What are the alternatives? Final fix, final fix. And fortunately, he survived. And I know some people that were in my mentions on X went from Albon to Sainz. And honestly, I can't fault you. So, like, that's just very unfortunate. It sucks because obviously that did not work out so well. But let me know in the comments below or hit up Pot Pan Man Tom if he is even awake yet, because his Crystal Palace Eagles won the FA Cup yesterday against juggernaut-ish Man City. And I'm not even sure if he's recovered yet. I haven't seen him on X. He might still be partying for all I know, because it's been about 24 hours since the Eagles won. So congrats to Tom and Crystal Palace for their FA Cup win. But yeah, submit those violin submissions to Tom. But yeah, the Albon thing is brutal. Delamain says, hi all, I'm so disgusted with myself. I went from Mercedes to Red Bull to Williams to Mercedes in my thinking. Ouch. Sorry about that, Jay. That is, that's not great. Maddie1312 says, what a race, guys. My team 2 with McLaren and Williams cooked. Oh my... I can smell that from here. You cooked quite well, Maddie1312. So great job by y'all. I hate Lance Stroll. Williams paid off. Yeah, I mean, from Lance Stroll having the easiest rise on the grid with 1 point to now dropping 0.2. And now all of these projections on here on the F1 Fantasy Tools page, they are projections. So until F1 in its infamous glory gives us the final decisions, all of these scores, all these points, all these price rises are obviously projections. But yeah, man, like Lance Stroll is going to do Lance Stroll things. So pretty brutal for managers that went there. The data looked pretty bad on Friday, and I kind of was put off of him as well. And then obviously, like, you go into Saturday, you're like, all right, Aston Martin just looking like it doesn't matter, like the rest of 2025. And then they pop up on mediums into Q3, and you're like, oh, F1 Fantasy is going to do me like that this week. But the scales tipped back the way that they usually do. And yeah, it was okay. But I'm not entirely sure where the average score will come in. Maybe the problem with, like, I'm trying to think right now, just like thinking of storylines in my head. I do have a storyline thing up here in the top right corner, but like, did anyone have the minerals to go with Ferrari on a Limitless chip this week? Red Bull, I understand. So McLaren, Red Bull, that's probably a pretty popular pairing. We can actually go over here to the elite data. Let's go check out in the global top 500. Red Bull were only added by 1.4% of teams. In the Patreon top 500, they were added by 9.4% of teams. And this week it looks like, only 0.6 of the patron top 500 played their Limitless. So I'm not sure how many people actually got that Red Bull sweet price rise. Colapinto went up 70%, 78.3% in the patron top 500. Oh my goodness. Hadjar went up 50%. Albon went up 37%. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Let me see here. Final Fix was played by 2.2% of managers as well. So all of this data is on the fantastic F1 Fantasy Tools website, which if you use promo code UID50, you can get 50% off your first month. Would highly recommend doing that. Let's see, what else have we got here? Let me know if you have any questions. A little like Monaco team selection will be out tomorrow, and then we'll do the Q&A stream on Wednesday. Yeah, we'll do it on Wednesday this week. So let me know if you have any like pre-Monaco questions right now, and we'll get into some of that as well over the next 50 minutes. But yeah, like I said, we got 100 people watching, 22 likes. Let's bump that up a little bit. I'm wearing a hat. I'm not entirely sure if I've ever worn a hat before on the stream because, yeah, the hair is a disaster because we were out in the sun today, so I had to protect my very, very Scottish white skin because I will just look like a lobster after any amount of time in the sun. Let's go here. Let's get into the chat a little bit more. Jay says, hope you all did well. Great guy. Feels good after a violent segment last week, says Wingy. Yeah, I agree. I'm actually discussing with him. Michael and Jay are trading hellos. That's very cute, you guys. I shall now have to introduce myself as Brandon. Oh, sorry, Benads. Sorry, Benad. Was that you? My bad. Okay, sorry. I will remember that for now. Stroll over Albon was my worst pick of the season so far. This would likely drop me out of the top 5K once results in there. Yeah, but still plenty of time. What are we, 7 races into the season? Like, that's okay. Don't worry. If that's the worst decision you've made all season, don't worry about it too much, Ravenco. You'll be, like, sounds like you're doing some pretty good decision-making there. Mr. Iceman comes in saying, hi there, so glad I didn't take a -10 for Merck and went Williams instead, but Ocon, at this rate, I might ask F1 to let me carry the Limitless into next year so I can tank like Ferrari. Yeah, maybe we could all just bank our Limitless chip. Just focus on 2026 at this point. It's all good. It's all good. Dhruv Yadav says, went with Red Bull in T1. Clap, clap, clap. Well done by you. Provisional 98 points. Could have been worse, says Christy. Yikes. Fraser says 115.6 million, 765th World League. Very happy. Fraser, you are crushing it, and thank you for always being in the chat. Greatly appreciate your perspective on the game. Ryan Abbott says, I went triple Williams, Piastri ×2, McLaren, Hadjar, and Ocon. Great result despite the DNF. Wow, that is awesome. So Ocon and Hadjar, what are they giving you? Like a 0.8 loss right now, plus Sainz a 0.8 loss, but Albon 0.6, Williams 0.6. That's pretty good. I think that's good. Good job by you, Ryan. This race was an F1 fantasy roller coaster for me, says Formula Bean 10. Also, what was that strategy for Oscar Piastri? Yeah, so like I was coming back from that wine walk thing, and I wasn't able to listen to the English commentary for probably like the first 30 laps, 25 laps. But I saw this first safety car and stuff, and like Oscar stayed out and stuff. It was a little confusing. I wonder if we'll hear more about that in the end. Richo says, hi gang, had to take the -10 to switch constructors. I tripled on Williams. Great week for me. Great job by you, Ethar. Went for Mercedes as the safe option. Should have been more daring with Williams. Yeah, a leakage of what? We may never know. Tell me why I didn't went for Williams instead of Mercedes. Australia and Jeddah trauma was still there. Yeah, Hector. I was bemoaning it a little bit yesterday when I saw Russell qualified 3rd, and then Williams was 5 and 6, P5, P6 after qualifying, and then yeah, Mercedes just didn't have it, and obviously Antonelli compounded it with the DNF. So not great at all. Ollie H, I'll cover off this question. My F1 app is telling me -5 in Mercedes and 117 total for same team as you. That is because they don't take into account like overtakes and stuff. Those are just the projection points. They add more points in later, Ollie, so don't worry about those too much at all. But even here on the live scoring, like this is all projections from the F1 Fantasy Tools website, which is a fantastic website. But yeah, sometimes they have a little bit of a different, like at the end of the day, it comes out a little bit different from F1. So this is not hard and fast to live by, but this is about as close as you're going to get because F1 doesn't add in all the scores as of right now. Fraser says, had McLaren kick Sauber 2 times Norris, Piastri, Albon, Hadjar, Colapinto, 217 points, and the 1.9 million rise. Great job by you, Fraser. Crushing it as per usual. Bernard says, the scores on F1 Fantasy Tools. Oh, yep. Great minds think alike, Benads. I appreciate you jumping in the chat and helping out there. I was screaming at Stroll to do something on those new mediums at the end. Just please some overtakes. Yeah, they were going backwards real hard, Formula Beans. So absolutely brutal weekend if you're an Aston Martin fan. Switch from Mercedes and Behrman to Williams and Albon. Goodness gracious, Interstate 40. Go buy a lottery ticket. That is some phenomenal work by you. I had Piastri, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Hadjar, Colapinto, McLaren, Red Bull. Stroll ruined my day. Yeah, but I mean, Red Bull, that's a great call by you, Chook. So no worries there. My budget team got more points than my points team. Yeah, ATL, that's a little bit brutal. Adil says, I was the only team in my league to differentiate from Mercedes into Williams and Albon. Great job by you, Adil. If you could just come on the deadline live stream at one point and just give me a kick of the butt to let me be brave, that would be greatly appreciated, because I would be in a lot better spot heading into Monaco right now with the Russell Williams build. Because I mean, Williams with 43 points now, they are going to continue to rise for a quick minute. So if you all have Williams, like this T3 team I have on the screen right here, McLaren, Williams, Piastri, Russell, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Colapinto, that's probably going to get the Limitless chip for me. I mean, even the T1 team could get it. McLaren, Mercedes, Piastri, Albon, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Colapinto. I'm not entirely sure what let's see here. If we can go to Pat's F1 Insights, we can maybe get some perspective into where Mr. Isaac Hadjar will be. I'll let those load for a little while in the background. I'll just go back here. But yeah, I had mentioned Triple Williams. Great job by you, Hagar. Did you go there? Let me know in the comments below. Points, 262, budget 1.3, McLaren, kick, Piastri times 3, Norris times 2, Bortoleto, Colapinto, Hadjar set up for Limitless. Wow. Don't mind that at all, Cash. I'm not entirely sure what, I guess, Norris coming through was nice, but yeah, Verstappen winning the race probably ruined, or not ruined, but dampened the 3x chip a little bit. Parzival says 155 points are not so bad weekend, but Stroll -4 is unfortunate. Thinking to get rid of Mercedes, but not pretty sure. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. If we go, let's go over to the statistics here. Mercedes. This is the first race where they've really been adrift of Red Bull. However, Max has come out and said that he felt like they had a wider operating window this weekend. The car has been better. It's the most comfortable he's felt in the car all season. So this could be an opportunity for a lot of managers to flip over to Red Bull and kind of ride that wave. If Red Bull have figured something out, they're getting back into the operating window. I mean, even Tsunoda had a pretty good recovery drive today. So could that be in the realm of is it time to hop on Red Bull? That's a question they'll probably have to ask in team selection and just see what happens on Friday when we get to Monaco free practice 1 and free practice 2. But yeah, this is really the first week where Red Bull have put it to Mercedes overall. So I don't want to hop on it too much and be oh my goodness, it's time for Red Bull. But that was a little bit of an eye-opening experience watching them get there. So let me see here. All right, so we got the budget here on Pat's f1insights.notion.site. So definitely check that out. Pat is a frequent commenter in the F1 Fantasy Tools Discord, so you should totally hop in there because then you can get all this stuff right away. Let me take a little, my lime green can is showing up blue because of the green screen in the background. That's weird. But yeah, okay, let's get on to here. So Alonso needed 20. Where are we going? Hadjar. Hadjar is who I was kind of curious about here. So 12 points for a great price rise, 7 points for a good price rise in Monaco or in Imola. So that means so he got 5. So we're probably looking at what, like 12 points in Monaco for a good price rise and more than that for a great price rise. So that could be another drop, which is not great at all. Colapinto, I don't even know how many points Colapinto ended up scoring today. Was it 0? 0 right on the dot. So if we go back over here, let's check it out. 0 points. So I think we're going to be looking at another price fall for Colapinto in Monaco as well. Let's check out X to make sure that we don't have any random DNFs going. I don't see any, so that's good. But yeah, that turn 1 pass by Max was pretty brutal. Obviously, it was a very tough day, says Ayo Kamatsu. Yeah, your Haas were absolutely nowhere today. It's pretty brutal for the American outfit. Alrighty, let's see here. Only Ferrari in B with large haul of points. Yeah, they crushed it. Evidicus says went triple McLaren, kick Bortoleto, Colapinto, and Stroll. Still happy with that result. Sets up for Limitless for Monaco. Yeah, because Stroll's 25 points should still save him. So as long as he does okay in Monaco. Cash Conovan says, I wanted to get the 3X in before the wing change rule. Yep. Yeah, I get that. We'll see. I mean, McLaren doesn't seem too worried about it from what I've read, but we'll see once we get to Spain. Interstate 40 says, had 221 points and 1.6 plus, pretty happy, or 1.6 budget game, pretty happy. Great job by you, Interstate 40. Where are we at? I know Sainz dropped this week, but am I thinking correct that he should start rising pretty soon? You are correct, Banads. He should start rising pretty soon. It seems that no matter the place the Astons qualified, the race pace is that bad that they will fall some places, so they are out of consideration for now. Yeah, I agree. Very 2023 Haas, if anyone was playing F1 Fantasy there. They'd qualify quite well and just sink like a stone. The Big Apo says T2 and T3 teams are exactly like your T3 team. Limitless is probably incoming. Yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen with me as well in Monaco. Hagar says, I go for Triple Williams. If you went there this weekend, great job by you, Hagar. Hulk got the exact amount for a maximum price rise. Yeah, Hulk is just crushing it. Let's see here. I mean, he didn't end up, but 12th on the weekend. Not bad at all. Gasly, pretty unfortunate with that battle with Hamilton going off. That kind of scuppered his race. Antonelli and Ocon just, yeah, the vibes were pretty bad around Antonelli and Haas in general this weekend. So that's a little bit upsetting, but it is what it is. I mean, Mercedes clearly off it as well. Russell to go from P3 to P7, that's disappointing. Is that the first competitive session that Russell hasn't finished in the top 5? 64% of y'all said that yes, Imola was a banger. So not an overwhelming majority, but enough to think that it was a pretty good race. Mercedes points according to Fantasy Tools. Yeah, let me check that out for you there. 7, but still getting the 0.3 price rise. I guess that was the thinking. Like, Mercedes needed a awful weekend to fall. And those like upper tier constructors are just so safe and healthy that even a bad weekend, you're still going to get that budget rise. And I mean, Albon getting 19 points, and this is all projected as well. So we'll see how that goes. Like, I think Albon needed exactly 19 points to get that price rise. Let me double check here. Okay, Albon needed 18 points. So he can lose 1 point on the official scoring. But if he if he gets to 17 points and he only rises 0.2, like, hands down, the Williams and Russell combination won the weekend. Right now, there's a little bit of a saving grace because Albon Mercedes comes away with a little bit more budget than the Russell Williams build. But Yeah, that was big yikes there for a second. So we'll see what the final results are for the Albon Mercedes build. But yeah, if Albon falls a couple of points, that could be pretty brutal for those of us that kind of had a conservative weekend. Zamani is in the chat saying, I had Albon, Stroll, Hadjar, Piastri, Colapinto, Williams, and McLaren. What do you think? I should limitless this week? If so, what do you think about the top 5 drivers now? Albon, Stroll, Hadjar, Piastri. You should be in a pretty good spot to limitless, I believe, Zamani. So not bad at all. And it'll be triple McLaren, and then probably Verstappen. I'm not sure if I'd rule out Leclerc. And then it'd probably just come down to how Sonoda looks. So, and then like if Verstappen is like totally on it and looks like he's set to win the race, I'd go Red Bull as the constructor. But if Ferrari looks like they can challenge for both drivers in the top 5, maybe I would go there. Parsifal says, Fantasy Tools is indicating 212 for me and a 1.2 increase. So I think I'm happy. Not sure about Limitless in Monaco, though, as I have Stroll and Hadjar. Yeah, I think Hadjar is probably going to keep falling 0.2 for a little bit here. But it's not the worst thing in the world if that means you can take advantage of a rather easy to predict Monaco. Is it going to be easy to predict? I do not know. But as of right now, like I was just talking about with Zamani, I think we'll be okay when it comes to figuring out who the top 5 teams are. I mean, we got 3 free practices, so that will help as well. Hussein says, Piastri, Bortoleto, Sainz, Colapinto, Hadjar with McLaren, and Mercedes setting up for Limitless at Monaco. What do you think? Yeah, I think that should be okay. We go back over here to Pat's graphics. Let's see what Sainz is set for here. So Sainz scored 12 points, which means he'll need... I guess he'll maybe need like 15 points, 15, 16 points for a good price, right? Maybe 14 or 15, because he's going to fall again this week, right? Like, what is he going to fall? 0.2. So, yeah, I guess that'll maybe be closer to like 13, 14, 15 points. Because, yeah, they have him as a 0.6 faller here. So... yeah, maybe 13 or 14 points for Sainz in Monaco, which could be on if like the Williams is just as strong as it has been in the past couple of races. So if he's your only like Bortoleto, Colapinto not going to fall, McLaren, Mercedes shouldn't fall, I think you'll be okay. The big APO says T1 team is probably Mercedes, Williams, and Hadjar to Sonoda. If budget can achieve that, that should work, I think. Casper says, hey, you and sorry I'm late. In the end, McLaren click was really good. Shame I followed the crowd and got Mercedes. Great job by Red Bull owners, too. Guess it's not worth it being a sheeple after all. Yeah. There is something to be said to kind of like effective ownership and stuff like that we talk about in like FPL a little bit. But Williams did look pretty on it. This is all kind of hindsight. Antonelli's vibes were a little bit rough. He put up like a what was he, like P5 in FP3? And that was kind of like, that's probably good enough. Like maybe he'll get top 8 or whatever, but he was kind of struggling throughout the weekend. So that's a little tough there. But like at the end of the day, when you get down to the deadline, it's kind of tough to go against the crowd a little bit there. Interstate 40 says, I'm at Piastri, Albon, Bortoleto, Colapinto, Hadjar, Williams, McLaren. Am I going to Limitless in Monaco? I think you are, Interstate 40. I think you're going to Limitless in Monaco with a squad like that. Ben Evans says, Piastri, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Colapinto, Stroll, McLaren, Mercedes. Should have swapped Stroll and Mercedes for Ferrari and Hulkenberg. Yeah. But I guess, like Max Verstappen says, if my aunt had bleep, she'd be my uncle. So, it is what it is. JB says, my team 3 just go into the top 300 World League with Red Bull, McLaren, Piastri, Sainz, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Colapinto. Congratulations, Jay. That is awesome. Hopefully you are subscribed to the channel or at least liking the video. I would greatly appreciate your support there. Bernard says, yes, Russell was the P5 for every Grand Prix until now. Yes, Russell. Okay, I disagree with Adolfo. Aston looked so much improved. Had they not made the blunder of staying on the VSC and kept bleeding lap time, they would have scored points, surely. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Maybe we'll get some, like, F1 video about what they should have done. Like I know like Sam Collins and Julian Palmer and stuff will do like some race review stuff as well. I'll be interested to see and listen to some of the like post race podcasts like P1 with Matt and Tommy, The Race, the Late Breaking podcast as well. Those are kind of the 3 podcasts I listen to. Let me know in the chat what F1 podcasts do you guys listen to, and am I missing out on anything great? Because I'd say the 3 ones I listen to are P1 with Matt Tommy, The Race .com's podcast, and the Late Breaking podcast as well. So let me know in the comments below. What is the link to Pat's website again? It is where are we at? f1insights.notion.site. But after I end this stream, Rahimin, just drop a comment and I will post the link directly as well. But also, if you go to the F1 Fantasy Tools Discord, it will be right there as well. Let me get you back on there. Let's see. At this rate, we'll have triple 4.5 drivers: Alonso, Bortoleto, Colapinto, and 2 A-tier drivers and 2 A-tier constructors soon. Yeah, I don't hate it. What site is this? The complete list table of prices. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, basically everyone who pitted early was screwed. Just fell from 24th to 34th in the world. Wow, that is some first world problems if I've ever heard them, Ethan. But congrats on being top 34 in the world. That is pretty epic. But yeah, like I said, guys, there's 130 of us watching, I guess, including myself, and about 38 likes. So we could get those likes up. That would be fantabby doozy. I would really appreciate that stuff. Let me know what everyone would like to keep talking about, and we can get into that as well. Let's see here. Boom. Oh, there were some people. I tweeted out earlier that Lance Stroll was on for a price drop, and someone was a little bit, I guess they were a little bit confused about how the scoring works. So let me go over here just in case that person is watching. So even though Lance Stroll scored -2 points, on this table it says -8, but if he scores anything less than 1, that means he actually goes to -2. Like he needs to score -8 to avoid a -6 price drop, just so people know that that's how the F1 Fantasy Tools website works. How do we do an F1 predict? Probably not all that great. Yikes. Okay, so predict the podium. Okay, I got Lando second. I didn't get pole position. I didn't get that. I didn't get that either. Kimi Antonelli top 10. Who will set the fastest time of the race? That was Verstappen. Who will finish the race ahead? Oh, did I cook there? Did Alonso finish ahead of Lawson? He sure did. Oh, let's go. 15 points there. Classified finishers. Dang it, missed out. How many overtakes? So according to F1 Fantasy Tools, whoa, okay, yeah, so off on that. Never mind. That was not good. Will there be a safety car or VSC during the race? I said no, so I got that wrong. And then Alpine does finish ahead of Kick Sauber, but not by a lot. So survives there a little bit in F1 Predict. Ethan says, with Stroll in my team as well, Albon thought the extra budget was going to be a bonus. Yeah, it's Lance Stroll doing ultimate Lance Stroll stuff to us in F1 Fantasy, Ethan. So I can't blame you there. Don't worry about it too much. It is what it is. Let's see here. So 117 provisional points. Where was that? Where does that provisionally put me in the world right now? I was at 154K. Ugh. A 2K rank rise. That's pretty brutal. So not pretty much a gray arrow this weekend in F1 Fantasy. Not all that great. Let's see. Samir says, how much will Piastri, Albon, Sainz, Colapinto, Bortoleto, McLaren, Williams cost next race? Think it could be the move or more faith in Ferrari, Mercedes constructor instead of Williams? I mean, Williams scoring 43 points today means that they're probably going to go up quite a bit in F1 Fantasy for the foreseeable future, and they seem pretty strong. I don't see any reason that they would get off our boards anytime soon. Jay chimes in with podcasts, P1 with Matt and Tommy, the Red Flag podcast, and the Fast and the Curious. So Okay, I don't have the Fast and the Curious. I've seen the Red Flag podcast pop up a little bit. I just haven't gone around to that yet. Mac Attack says, I'm late here, so I don't know if we've already discussed it. But what's the opinion on Leclerc's defense on Albon and subsequently Hamilton getting past? I think that's just the rules of racing right now. And I'm not educated enough to kind of like argue against it, but it did seem like Albon was ahead and Leclerc didn't leave him enough space on the outside. But I don't really know. It kind of seemed like Albon maybe wasn't going to make that corner, but Ferrari didn't want to incur a time penalty and watch Leclerc fall further down the grid. So they were like, just give him a place back. We don't know what's going on. And yeah, I think that's what it was. And Albon benefited a little bit at the end. Hamilton really benefited. So great job by Lewis Hamilton today. Just when you think Ferrari is out, they pull us back in. And yeah, I think probably all shook out the most, but maybe Albon feels a little hard done by because I'm not sure if Hamilton would have caught him if he had gotten past Leclerc cleanly. Bernard says, Piastri cost 24.3. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, Bernards. Appreciate that. Gua says, Lando Oscar paid off decently well. I'm a Max fan, so happy with the race outcome. Decent rises barring Alonso and Hadjar. Yeah, great job, Guha. Yeah, Max was crushing it again, so great job by him. Jeremy says, hey, you, and what is up, Jeremy? I believe we had the same team this weekend. So hopefully... Just muted. I keep muting the mic. There's this little button here on the new mic, and every time I try to adjust it, it mutes me. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'm going to just log on to X, see if Jamie Vardy has 3 or 4 goals yet in FPL. Let's see here. Okay, so Wissa did quite well. Oh, Fulham beat Brentford. Okay. Let's see. Rhea heading towards a big score if they keep the clean sheet. Vardy scored just 1. Okay. Not bad. I'll take it. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, Gua says, a 5-second penalty would have put Charles maybe 9th, so good to give the position back. I agree, Gua. Yeah, I think that was the right way. To be fair, Clark did the ultimate strategy at that point. Hamilton wasn't catching Albon if he went through. Right on point. Yeah, fair enough. Gua says, just the one hitting his 200th goal. Okay. It is what it is. Not a bad day. I went with Vardy for a captaincy punt, so not too upset about that at all. William Russell says, I went Red Bull over Mercedes, and when Yuki crashed, I almost final fixed to get into Mercedes again. Thank God I did not. Yikes. Although you can't final fix a constructor, William. So I think you would have been saved from yourself there. G-Wiz says, Embuemo missed a penalty. Oops. Macattack says, I think it's unfair in general that a team can force someone off and get another car ahead while avoiding a penalty by giving a place that would have been lost anyway. Yeah. But I just don't know how you like really police that in F1 Fantasy or just F1 in general. So I think they did the right thing by, making it a isolated incident between Leclerc and Albon. But yeah, certainly Hamilton benefited the most. Like, no arguments there. Let's see. What have I got going on here? Oh, I got Rhea on the bench. Yikes. But it is what it is. All right. Macattack says, also robbed us of a possible 1-lap scrap between Albon and Piastri. Yeah, that could have been pretty fun. I mean, Piastri wasn't pulling away from that battle all that much. But, I mean, could you imagine seeing a Williams pass a McLaren in 2025? Like, oh my goodness, the hype would have been unreal. Let's see. William Russell said, good to know about the construction first sheet in fantasy. Didn't know. You're good to go, William. Yeah, happy to help. Hopefully, yeah. Thomas says, shame about putting Kimi into my team, but glad I swapped Mercedes for Williams. Swap Kimi for Albon, improve other low drivers. Williams looks so good. Yeah, I think that's probably your best bet there, Thomas H4. Yeah. Oh, Macattack saying, I finished the push-ups after yesterday's stream, by the way. For those of you that were not here, Macattack said that they were going to do a push-up for every like on the stream for the deadline stream, They haven't put their money where their mouth is for this one. Maybe they're still sore from yesterday. But right now we're only at 48 likes. So, I mean, that wouldn't even be getting out of bed for you, Mac Attack. I'm assuming after the 70 you had to do yesterday. So at 49 likes, maybe if we get up into the 70 range again, maybe Mac Attack would be willing to do those. But for the next live stream on Wednesday, let me see here. What else have we got? Mr. Iceman is asking about FPL. Mac Attack is saying feeling ripped. Mr. Iceman, I do have Milenkovic, and he's on the bench. Yeah, I also benched him for Munoz as well. So hopefully Munoz is just a little too hungover to get into the squad on Tuesday. Mac Attack says, oh, really? All right, push-ups for this. See, look at this. You love the dedication to fitness. Connor says, should I be wanting to swap for Mercedes now after or who should I want to be swapping now for Mercedes after the DNF? I mean, so Mercedes needed a -8 to not get a great price drop. So they scored, what did they score? 7. So, I mean, they might be in a little bit of a tricky spot if they don't look great around Monaco to get a great price rise. But they should still be in like the low 30s range. So if they both qualify for Q3, that's 10. They both finish the race 5, 6. They should be okay for a great price rise. It's not great, but like with Red Bull coming in at 26.6, Mercedes 24.8, or so 26.9, 24.8. You need 2.1 million to get into like Red Bull range. And I'm not entirely sure how much I had in my cost cap left over after yesterday. I think I had a little bit. Does it say? Does it say here? It doesn't say yet. But yeah, right now 117 points. Just if you guys are like, if it's your first season playing on F1 Fantasy, the actual app or the website, these are all provisional points. They don't add in every single point. So I wouldn't worry about these scores too much until they become finalized. The scores on f1fantasytools.com/live are a lot more accurate. They're not perfect because sometimes F1 makes different decisions than how F1 Fantasy Tools tracks it, but it is what it is. But yeah, Mercedes might be in a little bit of danger of not rising 0.3. So if Max is looking pretty epic and Red Bull looks like they've kind of fixed their car a little bit to like really compete with Max, then that could be a pretty popular switch next weekend. I'm going to have 3 free transfers next week as well. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, it feels like I could be in a spot to Limitless, like Piastri, Albon, Hadjar, like Colapinto, Bortoleto aren't going to fall. McLaren's going to rise. Mercedes should be okay. That's a little bit annoying because that puts a little bit of doubt into my thinking about whether Mercedes is going to rise or fall. If they had just not had the DNF, they'd be so on for another price rise. I wouldn't have to worry about it. So I'd just be like, can I just swallow a 0.2 fall from Hadjar, but hit the Limitless chip in Monaco? That would be kind of nice. But the Mercedes is a little bit of creeping into my doubt as well. Thomas says, I know it's early days, but is there some indication that we've gotten the best value from Piastri and perhaps look at Max or Lando later in the year? I don't think so. I mean, Piastri is still rocking like, what is his price? He's going to be 24.3 and Verstappen is going to be 29.1. So that's still 5 million difference or 4.8 million difference between Piastri and Verstappen. And yes, I know this week it was 25 points difference. So it probably does make up for it this week, that 5 million. But Verstappen winning fastest lap and driver of the day in the same day, like, I don't think we're going to be banking on that. If that becomes a regular thing, then yes, Verstappen will probably become the best bang for your buck. But right now, I still think Piastri is still set and forget with your 2X. I don't think you need to bring him out of your team. I think he was in like 98% of the patron top 500. Let's go check it out here. 98.8% of the patron top 500 have Oscar Piastri in their squad. So If this was like the second or third to last race, I'd be like, all right, let's get a little bit differential. But right now, I just don't think you can. There's not really, Oscar's not really giving us a reason to get away from him. Max had a really good day today. And if y'all went there, then like absolutely massive golf clap for y'all. But I think I'd still stick with Oscar. TSA says, is the sheet you are using freely available? Yes, f1insights.notion.site/f1f-insights. So I will post it in the, if someone just drops a comment after the stream is ended, I'll drop the, or maybe I'll just drop a comment in there. Actually, you know what? I can just do that, right? I can drop, here is the website. Boom. I just dropped the website in the comments. I can do that. And you guys should all be able to click on that. Modest Racing Cowboy says, who prefers last year's system to this year's value system? Great question. Maybe for a different episode than the cooldown room episode, but I think I kind of prefer this year's scoring system just because, like, I think I've had most of the grid in my team, and like last year I did not. But it's a great poll question. So for the final 14 minutes, scoring system preference 2024, 2025. And yeah, I think that's a good question. So thank you for asking it, but let us know in the chat when you guys are voting which you prefer, the scoring system or the budget rising system, I guess. Macatech is our strongest soldier, says Yas97. Yeah, they sure are. Dr. Look says, had McLaren kick Max 2x, Piastri, Bortoleto, Hadjar, but Ocon could have been mega with Hulk, but did not take the -10. Oh my goodness. Dr. Luke, that is fantastic. I mean, even with Ocon, that's still a fantastic weekend. So great job by y'all. Mr. Iceman popping in here with some advice for everyone who wants to switch to Red Bull. Tread carefully. They've always been awesome at Imola, and they've been by far the most aggressive with upgrades. Okay, good to know. Good to know. We will keep that in mind. Jose says, I switched to Williams to set up Limitless in Monaco. Turned out great. I'm just doubting who will be the top 5 drivers at Monaco. Yeah, hopefully we get some clarification on that. Thomas says, if you went Limitless in Monaco, who would you go for second constructor? Red Bull or weaker and slow speed? Mercedes and Ferrari are quite unpredictable. That is a great question, Thomas. And so, I mean, McLaren, obviously, but I still wouldn't rule out Ferrari at Monaco. They're just always pretty strong. So not, if I see Charles or Lewis kind of up towards the top of the timing charts on Friday, Ferrari could maybe come into my thinking. Christoph says Stroll trolling us again. Yeah, he was. And then Nikolai said, do you think you'll be using Limitless in Monaco? And then FPL YOLO also asked the same question. What's the plan for Monaco? So right now, if I'm looking at my T1 team, which is up at the top here, McLaren, Mercedes, Piastri, Albon, Hadjar, Bortoleto, and Colapinto. Like, obviously, Bortoleto, Colapinto can't go down in budget, so that's nice. McLaren's going to go up. Piastri's going to go up. Albon's probably going to keep going up as well. Hadjar and Mercedes are kind of the problem kids that I need to think about going forward. And I'll kind of just need to see, like, when the scores are finalized, what it pops up as. If Hadjar is kind of in like the 5 to 6 to 7 range to avoid or even go up a little bit, but if he needs like a pretty big price drop or score to avoid a price drop again, I might have to push off Limitless again, just depending on like what the numbers are for Mercedes as well. I mean, they're still pretty good, but they probably had their 2 weakest weekends of the year in back-to-back weekends. So I can't say that I'm feeling great about Mercedes at the moment. However, there could still be some time. There could be some like track-specific updates to Monaco for Mercedes. They could still be strong. So I'm not going to rule them out either. But yeah, just depending on like what the scores are finalized as, if Mercedes and Hadjar look okay, then I will probably be leaning towards Limitless in Monaco if we can get some pretty clear standing on who the second team is after McLaren. Because, I mean, it'll be triple McLaren and Max. And then it'll just kind of come down to Russell versus Leclerc, and then Ferrari versus Red Bull and Mercedes, probably. So that'll be pretty interesting as we kind of go throughout the week. Team selection will be out tomorrow. Q&A stream will be Wednesday. And then I still got to kind of figure out what my plans are for like final thoughts or deadline live stream, that kind of thing. But I will post that tomorrow or Tuesday with like my kind of content schedule, where you can follow me right above my head right now at F1 Fantasy Ewan. You can follow me on X, on TikTok, all those fun spots. 120 people watching, 58 likes. Been going at it for 50 minutes. So let's try and get up to 70 likes in the last 10 minutes. So if you're watching this right now and you have not hit that simple like button, you could greatly help me out. You don't even have to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to. However, that would also help out the channel because we are very close to 3,100 subscribers. But yeah, drop a like. That would be greatly appreciated. And let's knock out some final questions over the last 10 minutes. Anvit says, hi, when you use 3X and when to use Limitless and with drivers and constructors for Limitless. 3X is probably going to be later in the season when you can afford better drivers and when it's like a sprint weekend. And Limitless, whenever you have all of your squad rising at a difficult to overtake track like Monaco. So say if all of your squad is going to be rising this weekend for the Monaco Grand Prix, or this upcoming weekend of the Monaco Grand Prix, I would not mind hitting that Limitless chip. Thomas says, using Ferrari in a Limitless week just feels terrifying. Haha, you know they'll go in DNF or something bad. Yeah, already stressed about it. The big APO says, probably Hadjar will need to run 6 points to lose 0.2 and lower than 5 loses 0.6. That's not great. If it rains in Monaco, would you go no negative? Probably. Yeah, probably, because I would just love to use the no negative in a chip, use a chip for no negative when it's raining. So that'd be great. Macatech says 5,000 subs before Spa gets us a watch along stream, guys. Yes, it will. Mark Johnson Roche says, still holding Limitless and no negative after the last two races. Can you talk about this for the next few weeks coming up? Alonso to Stroll and Behrman to Colapinto, and sticking with McLaren Mercedes this week. Hurt for budget rise and points. Well, sticking with McLaren Mercedes didn't hurt too much for budget rise. I guess it just depends on who you went with them. Oh, you did Alonso to Stroll and Behrman to Colapinto. Okay, that's sorry, Mark. Yeah, okay, that hurts. Limitless, if you have two guys or two drivers that are going to fall, I would avoid using the Limitless chip. If you have one, that's really just up to your risk tolerance. I probably wouldn't love that. I would kind of like to have at least very guaranteed risers in my F1 Fantasy Squad when I'm hitting the Limitless chips, just so when I'm coming out the other side, I don't have too many fires to deal with. But yeah, it's tricky. I think Limitless, just depending on what happens with the data, with the finalized scores, the T3 team on the screen right here with McLaren, Williams, Piastri, Russell, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Colapinto, that should be okay to hit the Limitless squad with, or the Limitless chip with, in Monaco next weekend. However, the T1 squad, a little bit more on the fence. McLaren, Mercedes, Piastri, Albon, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Colapinto. Mercedes, the T3 squad feels like right now in my gut, yes, I'll use the Limitless squad there. The T1 squad with Mercedes and Albon feels like I might, or Mercedes, Albon, Hadjar, is I might just need to wait for free practice to see how Mercedes looks. If it looks like Mercedes is going to be an easy P5, P6, and I don't have to worry about them too much for getting that 0.3, that's fine. But just using the Limitless on a weekend where they're only going to get 0.1, where it looks like Williams is going to quite easily get another 0.6 because they are epic and they should probably finish in the top 10 again. Yeah, it's tough. So yeah, T3 team is gut right now is I'll probably use the Limitless chip on them. T1 team might have to wait for free practice data, but it's a great question, Mark. Piastri times 2, Bortoleto, Hadjar. Ugh, yikes, yikes. 74% of y'all say that you prefer the scoring system, or I guess scoring slash budget system from 2025. So yeah, there we go. Another poll has concluded. Let's see it. PFU underscore dollar sign says, keep up the great work. Appreciate it a lot. Best regards from rainy Vienna. Oh man, it's raining in Vienna. Like, I'm just like, well, I'm a lot further west than you, but it's beautiful today down here in southern Germany. I hope you get some of this weather coming your way over the next week. PFU underscore dollar sign. But yeah, 67 likes. That is awesome. I really appreciate everyone kind of tuning in. I think I'm gonna get skedaddle out of here. If that's all right with y'all, a little 5 minutes early. It's a Sunday night, so I think I've answered most of the questions. Let's hear. Stixel says keeping Ocon to avoid a negative 10 was a bad mistake. Ugh, brutal. Yeah, it was really tough because a lot of us had so many fallers this week that it was like, well, who's going to be the least likely to fall, that kind of thing. But yeah, that was bad. And it just compounded with the DNF. Michael Ford says, lucked out with Piastri, Albon, Colapinto, Hulkenberg, Stroll, McLaren, and Williams. That is a banging weekend there. Yeah, minus Stroll, who hurt you a little bit. You've gotten a lot of riders, Albon, Hulkenberg, and Williams, all going up 0.6. That is awesome. But yeah, like I said, guys, I think I'm going to get out of here a little bit early today. Hopefully that's all right. 56 minutes in. So we are doing a good job. Hopefully everyone had a bang up Imola Grand Prix. I will be back with team selection tomorrow. That'll be out at 6:30 p.m. UK time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and then there'll be a Q&A stream on Wednesday, and then there'll be some form of deadline-y stream slash final thoughts episode going on Friday or Saturday, just depending on how the schedule looks. But yeah, if you're watching this on replay, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're very close to 3,100 subscribers, so I really appreciate everything going on there. I will send out a tweet on X at F1 Fantasy U whenever the final scores are finalized to let you guys know. And yeah, so I'll be back a couple of times this week. Hopefully you guys will join me there. Looking forward to all the content. Always drop a comment or whatever if you want to chat some F1 Fantasy. We are 1 race down, 2 to go in the triple header. And yeah, lots of content coming out of the YouTube channel this week. So once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.